The discovery is broken down into two types of evidence. There's exculpatory evidence, and then there's culpatory evidence. Exculpatory evidence is what the defense wants. Exculpatory evidence is the stuff that says you weren't there. The stuff that says those text messages did not necessarily start at your phone. The stuff that says you weren't necessarily the guy she identified or he identified. Exculpatory evidence is information or facts favorable to the accused. And yes, it's true. The state has exculpatory evidence that's favorable to the accused. Now, how they frame it, how they use it, how they try to turn it to make their case better, they will try to do that. That is what the prosecution does. They take the evidence and they try to move it to a position where it works for them. So, exculpatory, tending to clear from allegation or alleged fault or guilt, serving to excuse, justify, or absolve an accused person from criminal liability, or to reduce the degree of culpability or punishment, meaning a reduced sentence. Exculpatory evidence is weakness in a case. There is no corroboration. You have 5 or 6 different stories about what happened when the person who's reporting is not necessarily the victim, or heard some hearsay and was not necessarily there or got firsthand information. Descriptions weren't right. Dates weren't right. Timelines weren't right. They said something was blue when it was actually red. They said the guy was tall when he was actually short. They said, yeah, the guy was here at 2:00 instead of at 5:00 when the thing was supposed to have happened. All of these things are important. Exculpatory evidence that helps the defense. The culpatory evidence is what the prosecution wants. Do you know what his name is? Tell me what his real name is. I know he go by this or this or this, but what is his real name? I know he hang out over here, but where does he really live? What time did you actually see him? Did he actually have the weapon in his hand? You saw the weapon in his hand. All of these things help their case. And so you have to understand what is actually helping the defense and what does not help the defense. This is why getting your discovery is so important, and knowing how to divide the information that you have. What is culpable? What is exculpable? And these things are not as cut and dry as we would think. Sometimes it's like, aha, that's not me. I wasn't there. Told y'all. Sometimes it's not that easy. And when it comes to going through and understanding all of the information that you see, sometimes what you think should be, hey, I got this. This is easy. I wasn't even over there, and they know I wasn't over there. It is not always cut and dry. And so we want things clean and accurate, because that's where the case lies. The case is in the details. And so understanding how this evidence comes together, stacks up. All of these cases are neutral. And then we start stacking. We got this, we got this, we got this, we got this, we got this. And all of that evidence builds a direction. It tells you what has happened in this story. And you, at the end of the story, have to say, this is not the prosecution's end. The prosecution wants to say, our story starts here and it ends here, based on the evidence that we have. The defense has to say, our story starts here just like their story started there, but it went this way. Or anything that throws the prosecution off and say, that ain't even where it started. They started in the wrong place. And so your lawyer, the person that's representing you, have to do their best to get all of the information. As we know, most of these court cases, it's hard to hate to say it, but they're not built on truth. They're built on what you can, where your story ends. Where does it logically glow in the minds of the listener? It starts here. Where does it end up? According to this evidence. And we say, according to our story and the exculpable evidence that they have, even what they have says what we have, says that our story is correct. So the prosecution is going to minimize exculpable evidence. They're going to minimize it. And in the process of understanding how these cases work and how these cases are put together, and going back studying how these cases work and when cases fall off the rails, not do something, is based on evidence, what you can prove and what you cannot prove. This is about the law. You have to learn to use it, because by using parts of it, bits and pieces of it, this is how you get in trouble. This is how the system breaks down, because parts will be omitted. Statements. Yeah, we thought the statement said that, but that's not really what the statement said. Did you go back out and talk to the witness again? Yeah, no, we thought we got enough from her. We got 3 or 4 witnesses that said you did it. Nobody knows what the statements were. And then what they thought those statements said is not what those statements said. Or you put somebody on the stand and they said, that's not what I said. Is this your statement? Is this your name? Did you tell them this on the 5th of May? No, I was out of town on the 5th of May. Oh, you not such and such? No, that's the girl that live around the corner. So understand the power of this stuff. I want to tell you about a case that happened just like this. A young man was about to get a year in jail because he was charged with breaking into a car with some friends of his. The DA had him charged with breaking into a car, driving the car around, and then stealing money and property out of the car. When in reality, what happened was he was sitting on the porch at his girlfriend's apartment. He knocked on the door. The girlfriend said, "Hang on, I'll be out in a minute." He sat on the porch. There's some guys in the apartment complex fiddling around with a car. One of the guys said, "Hey, what's up?" He said, "Hey, man, what's happening? What's happening?" "Love your fits, dog." "Oh, yeah, man. I picked up this sweatsuit from XYZ place." So he's talking to them about a sweatsuit that one of the guys is wearing. "What's up?" "Trying to get into my car, man. I locked my keys in my car." "Oh, look like y'all gonna make it happen." Yeah, we gonna get it." And the dude, one of the guys down there said, "Forget it, man. I'll just get the car fixed." Breaks the window. Jumps in the car and the guys pull off. Now, the prosecution said he knew the guys. Come to find out, he never left the porch. He didn't know any of the guys. Didn't know anything about what they were doing. But because he had a conversation with them, culpable. You were talking to the guys while they were in the process of breaking the law. Culpable. We feel like you were watching out, keeping an eye out for the owner who was in the next apartment. Culpable. You're lying when you say you don't know who the other guys were. You're covering for them. Exculpable. I never left the porch. Exculpable. I didn't know who they were. Exculpable. I don't know what they're doing. Exculpable. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. They broke the window and pulled off in the car. Well, then why were you guys talking so long? Just people do it all the time. Just because you're talking to someone does not necessarily mean you know exactly what they're doing or what they're about. And in this case, in this situation, the judge agreed. They're about the same age. They live in the same neighborhood. They do the exact same stuff. They don't necessarily have to know each other to communicate, especially if they're talking about off script general stuff like, "Yo, dog, I love your fits." A nice sweatsuit to young people do look good. That is something they would talk about. But it does not necessarily mean that he knows what they're doing and they're committing a crime together. Nor does it mean that he's responsible for their actions or to know their actions. All of this is part and parcel to cases. Cases are won and lost on these small connects, whether you're culpable or not. And exculpatory evidence can be your ticket to make sure that as much as you can get says you didn't do it. Because you can just best believe that the prosecution is going to do everything they can to say that you did. If you were to be not charged, then good. You go home, you're not charged. You don't have a problem. But if the prosecution charged you with a crime, you can just believe that they're going to do all they can to get a conviction. The prosecution is not wasting time. They want a prosecution and a conviction. Your job is to make sure that that doesn't happen. And how do you make sure that that doesn't happen? By asking questions. Questions are the magic keys that make the doors open up, that make the brains open up, that makes the system open up so that you understand it. And this is so important. This is why I have available my 50 questions that protect you. 50 questions that you should be asking your lawyer every step of the way. Broke down every part of your case. There are questions to ask, and I have them organized. The link is in the description. But you need to be able to ask questions. Because if you don't know what questions to ask, they don't know what answers to give. And when you ask no questions, you get no answers. We have to understand all of this. It's a system and it all works together, starting with the discovery and then understanding what's in the discovery, what helps us and what hurts us. That's where the magic begins. That's the understanding. This is the law. My name is Ahmad Blakemore. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. I love doing this for you. I enjoy it so much. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Learn, 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 question, 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 because the system is not going to teach you this. Okay, have a great one, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.